Hello and welcome to another edition of Morning Tailgate, Week 9, I believe we're at. And it's brought to you by Coast to Coast Entertainment Network. I am the quarterback, the host, Big B. I'm joined by the working man, Crispy Bacon. How you doing, bud?
Doing good. Another week. Some teams are on a bye, but hey, it's another week of football.
Yep, exactly. And then below us, halfway around the world like normal, Tim Hendricks. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Like every week nine, six teams got a bye week. Pretty interested to see how this week is going to go because we haven't had a normal week since last week or last year at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, the way the football season is going, there's no normal week. So first off, let's touch on a couple trades. I mean, if there's a trade that you guys want to talk about, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars getting Ridley is definitely going to help them out next year. I don't know what the trade value was. I can't remember. I think it was just a pick straight up. But giving Lawrence a solid number one, I mean, he might be a number two on most teams. But what do you guys think of that trade, Tim?
I think it's good next year. It doesn't pay any dividends this year,
No.
considering he's out for the whole season.
Yep.
Um, I at this point, where you'd have to start thinking where was Atlanta just looking to free up some cap space at this point. It's an interesting move, but one that doesn't pay dividends right away.
No, and that's one thing too I've noticed. I think every trade was all draft picks except for one trade where it was a player plus draft picks. But Chris, what did
Yeah.
you think of the trade?
It's interesting. Like Tim said, it's not going to help now. It's going to help next year. But and I know he can't practice, but he has a year. At least a year to figure out the playbook. That's his biggest
Exactly.
advantage is to understand it. He can sit on the sidelines,
Mhm.
watch how everything goes when training camp, mini camp, all that comes around. He can implement what he can learn or what he learned. Uh, I think he's going to be the top player probably for him next year for that team.
Is he allowed to be at the training facilities being suspended around the team?
I don't know, but I'm sure
Okay.
they'll
Yeah.
probably give him.
You're right though. I mean, he gets a year to time to learn the playbook and get familiarized with it. So it definitely benefits him.
They'll
Another
find a way.
Yeah, another move that kind of really shocked me is the Vikings traded for the tight end from the Lions and didn't give up much. I don't think they gave up. They, market value they probably did, but being that was an in division trade, I think they didn't give up. I think they got the steal. So Tim, what do you think of that trade with Lions of Minnesota?
Well, after you see Irv Smith go down, what is he out 6 to 8 weeks,
Yep,
from my
Yep.
understanding?
yep,
And Hawkinston, what was he? He was a draft pick in 2019.
yep.
So basically, you've got a yeah. He's a young tight end. You usually on trades like that within the division, you're forced to the team who's getting the player usually has to pay more.
Yep.
And when you didn't get when you didn't give up you didn't even get up market value for him, and it's kind of strange. And then he just jumps from the Detroit Lions straight to a team that's an NFC hopeful at this point. It's everything is upside for Hawkinson and downside for Detroit, which means Detroit hasn't learned anything.
Well, and that's the thing. I think outside of the division, I think they got fair value, but within the division, I mean, Lions could have probably got two number twos or a number one somewhere down the road. But Chris, what did you think of the Vikings trade?
It was interesting. It's going to be interesting how it works out. Lions aren't horrible, but the record says they are horrible. It's going to be crazy how it's going to play out today and the rest of the season
Yeah, it'll
on
be
the
interesting
Lions
to
side.
see. Yeah, interesting to see how the Vikings use him today. I don't think they will I don't think he'll be on a snap count, but you know, who knows? He might be able to cut right in and and fill in right away. So, any other trades out there that you guys want to discuss before we get into our show? Tim?
Well, I'm definitely not happy about Naheem Hines going to the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, that
You
just
look
made
at
them
that,
better.
you get a it just makes them better. But the thing is, now that all of a sudden this year it seems like Jonathan Taylor is injury prone, and all of a sudden it's because Taylor's not going to be starting today, so we have to bring up two running backs
Yeah.
from the practice squad in what is it, Philip Lindsay and well, granted we're bringing up Jordan Wilkins, who's already
Yeah,
has been with the team since he got drafted, but I just don't understand that move. And I think that was the play. I think that was the trade you were talking about, a player for a player and a player and a pick,
yeah,
because
because
we
did
end
you
up
guys
getting
get
Moss.
Moss back? Yeah,
We got Moss back, but I don't know how well that's going to help the team. He we give up a receiving running back, probably one of the better ones in the league, and turn around and get Moss, he's serviceable as a third down back, but you're kind of stretching.
yeah, exactly. Chris, any other trade that spiked your interest? Okay. Chris will be back with us shortly, hopefully. So, actually, another team that kind of boggled my mind a little bit was the fact the Bears go and trade two of their better defensive players, and then come back and trade for Claypool. So, I know the Bears. The couple of guys that want to be there. Hey, he's back, the working man, paid
He
his
kicked
bills.
me out.
So, Chris, we're just talking about the Bears trading their defensive, a couple of the prime defensive guys, and then
Yeah.
going and trading for Claypool. What did you think of that move?
That was an interesting move. I think he's supposed to play. I think all of the players that were traded are supposed to play today. Uh,
Except for Ridley.
and I know, huh?
Except for Ridley. Ridley's
Right.
not playing.
Yeah, that's true. But I thought Chubb going to the Dolphins was an interesting one.
Yeah, yeah, that just helps their defense. Yeah, but I think we could all agree that probably Ridley going to Jacksonville was probably a big shocker and helped them out. And I don't know about you guys, but I think the in the division trade between the Vikings and the Lions was really a shocker to me. So, and
Yeah.
yes, I still don't think the Vikings are going to the Super Bowl. That's not the key. I mean, they still need to play. They still need to play defense. It doesn't matter how many points you put on the board. Can you stop the team? I mean, Chris, you put it in our chat. I mean, halftime, 80, 89-0, game got called. So anything's happened,
Yeah.
and that was a high school game, I think it was. So, but
Oh, it
all
was.
right, so, I think it was, or a Division 3 college or something. I don't know, but yeah,
No, it's high school. That was
it
a
was
high
high
school
school.
game.
Okay, yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
yeah. So anyway, so Chris, you had our one tough question this week. So what was your question?
Yeah. So if you're a team, like the Eagles, and you're a fan of that team, would you want that team to continue losing or winning, or do you want them to lose at least one game?
That is honestly, you're right. It is a tough question because you want to see how that team comes off the loss, but yet you also kind of want to make history. I mean, there's only been two teams that have gone undefeated through the regular season,
Right.
and one team's won it all undefeated. So I guess for me, I guess it depends on what my team is. Like the Eagles, okay, let's see. Let's get that loss. Let's see how we rebound after a loss. But if it's like the Patriots and they're going undefeated, okay, we already know how our team reacts after a loss. But you
Right.
know, some teams might want to get that loss out of the way in the regular season because in the playoffs, you lose, you're done. There's no rebounding. So, Tim, what do you think?
As a guy who's been in this position in the last 10, 20 years, I remember the last time that the Colts had been The last time the Colts went to the Super Bowl against the Saints, that was one of those times where the last two teams that were tied were in the Super Bowl were undefeated at the time, had the latest in the season. It was weird because the Saints had lost the week before and Indy lost the week after. And my thing is always like, God, just let us lose one. Just let us lose one. I'm not worried about us. I'm not worried about how we're going to react. I'm worried about the fact is that you don't want your team to play out of their head that they're expecting to win every week. Well, you're expected to win every week, but you don't think that every team's going to come into your stadium and roll over and die. You know, I want to lose. I want to lose so that when the playoffs come, that all of a sudden they're not paying attention. They lose on a fluke game to the Jets or to the or it just throwing names out. But you don't want to lose in your first playoff game because you guys kind of got big headed. So my answer is like let us lose. Let us lose in week 14. Don't let us lose in like week 16 or 17 because then I'm a little more invested. But you lose like week 13, week 14. I think you've got a little. I would rather lose then than week 16 or 17.
And with Tim, and to Tim's point, it also might depend on who you lose to, and then the following week. So if you lose to the Jets, on a fluke play or whatever, you come back and you're facing Kansas City or somebody, a tough team. Okay, how can we rebound against that playoff caliber team, to set us up? So,
but also as a fan too, you're like,
fans never want us to lose.
No, it's like you have high expectations. So when they lose, it's like we should have won that game.
Yep. I just think I think I like Tim's point. I think it just depends on when you lose and who you lose to, and then come back and rebound against hopefully a playoff team. So
yeah.
All right. With that being said, guys, let's get into our picks here. Currently, we are sitting at Mess Around, who hopefully will be with us shortly. He's at 66, 58, and 1. He's leading in the locks. He's got 5 locks out of 9 weeks. So, Tim, you're second at 70, 54, and 1 with 4 locks. You are tied with Chris in the locks. Chris is 76, 48, and 1 with 4 locks. And I'm leading 77, 47, and 1, and I only got 3 locks hit. So we'll start with the first game. Speaking of the Vikings, 6-1, going to the Commanders, 4-4. This is a battle of former quarterbacks of the opposite teams because Heineke was a signee for the Vikings back in 2015, which I forgot about. So Vikings are favored by 3. For me, this is one of the games where if the Vikings get off to an early lead, they gotta put the pedal to the metal. They can't let the Commanders come back. We've seen that so many times. And if the Vikings want to be a serious contender for the playoffs, Super Bowl run, they got to close out games strong. So if they get up I think it was the Bears game, it was like 21-3 at halftime. They let the Bears come back. They can't do that. But I'm going to go with the Vikings on the road. So, Chris, who do you have?
Yeah, Vikings on the road. I guess it's the Kirk Cousins revenge game, if you want to call it that. But I think Minnesota's going to go in Washington and pull out a victory.
All right, Tim.
Well, first I'm going to answer Jason's question, J-Mac's question, a lot quicker. The Commanders are a better team with Heineke. They just are.
Yeah.
He just knows how to run that team. He knows that playbook far better than he's supposed to. But that being said, the Vikings defense are just a bit tougher than the Colts defense was. And the Vikings just have way too many options. And if the Vikings ever think about getting their head out of their butt and not throw and start thinking about throwing to Justin Jefferson inside the red zone, not 20-20, I think the Vikings are going to be pushing the Eagles in that NFC Championship game. But I've got the Vikings.
Okay. Yeah, no doubt. I do like Heineke. I think he's definitely earned the job, and Washington definitely needs to stop um, going after these retread quarterbacks and let Heineke have the ball. So the next game, the 4-3 Chargers, who are favored by 2.5, versus the most are saying shocking Atlanta Falcons at 4-4. Chris, who do you have in this game?
Um, I'm going with the Chargers.
Okay, going Superchargers. All right, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Crispy's his pick. I think the Chargers have been playing well. The Falcons are one of those scary teams that are playing out of their skull as of late. But yeah, I like the Chargers.
Okay. I'm gonna go with the Falcons just because they are scary. They're a team that nobody expects anything of. I think they're tied for the top or in second in their division, winnable division. So that team's playing. You know, we don't care. Let's go out and just play our game. So the next game we got the 5-3 Miami Dolphins, who are favored by 4 over the Chicago Bears, who are 3-5. So Tim, who do you have in this game?
I hate to tell mess around, but this isn't the week. This is definitely it's a tough defense with Miami. Miami just got has all of San Francisco's old backfield playing in the and playing now in the backfield for Miami. So basically, they're the Miami 49ers for a backfield. Um, I like the Dolphins. I like what Tua did. I think Tua is he's not. I'm not going to go out on a limb and say he's the real deal, but I think he's working his way that way.
All right. And before we get to Chris, J Max says Herbert isn't himself. Those ribs are still hurting him. What do you think? Yeah, I mean that could be a nagging injury, especially for a
Yeah.
quarterback trying to throw. I mean, I've never played quarterback, but getting rib injuries, I mean that with your motion and stuff, that'd be hurtful. Tim, what do you think?
Well, rib injuries without being a quarterback
Yeah,
suck.
yeah.
It just makes you it makes you not want to laugh. It doesn't make you like it makes you hate breathing for a while. It may have changed everything. It may have changed his throwing motion so he doesn't throw toward with the torque that he's used to. After a while, he'll get used to it. Yeah, that could definitely be a problem.
Okay. All right, Chris. Get your thoughts on
Yeah.
this game. Dolphins
No,
Bears.
I'm picking Dolphins. I would like the Bears to win, but I feel like Dolphins are going to win this game. Tua's been playing pretty well, even though there's a couple concussions. I think he found, a better playing style last week or the week before, and I think he's going to be a problem.
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins offense is going to be a problem. Tua, seems to be getting it. I mean, he's got two solid receivers that I think a lot of teams would have. And then, their defense just got better with Chubb getting traded over there. So, sorry, Bears. Might be a rough night for you guys today. So, next game we got the Panthers at 2-6 versus the Bengals at 4-4. The Bengals are favored by 7. So, Tim, what do you think of this game?
I like the Cleveland Bengals. I think what Burrows has been doing has been has been has been short of what he's been doing lately has not been nothing short of miraculous because I had this team written off by week 4. You got a defending AFC champion team and they look like they decided to start playing like and they were the early 90s again. Um, I really like what the Bengals are doing. They're starting to put themselves in position to go after the Ravens and to go after the Browns. I think it's going to be an interesting thing. So I've got the Cleveland Bengals.
All right. All right, Crispy, who do you have?
Yeah, I got Cincinnati on this one, or the Cleveland Bengals. Uh, I don't think Carolina's going to win on the road. They played well last week, but that was a close game last week.
And just so fans aren't and viewers are like Cleveland Bengals, what are you guys talking about? A few weeks ago, Chris made a
Uh,
mistake and called Cleveland Browns the Cincinnati Browns, and then the Cleveland, and then he
yeah.
called the Bengals Cleveland. So it's an inside joke. So yes, we know our
Yep.
sport teams, stuff like that. So um, I'm going with the Bengals. I'm making this my lock of the week. I think the Panthers, yeah, they showed something after they traded everybody, but Bengals, I think, are firing on. They're tuning it up. They're tuning up to make a run. So I think they're gonna close out the Panthers today. So we got a division collision here. J Mac, if you're on, I want to get your thoughts on this game. The Packers at 3-5, who are favored by 3.5, versus the mighty Lions at 1-6. So Chris, who do you have in this game?
As much as I don't want this team to win, considering what happened next week, I'm picking the Packers.
Okay, Tim.
I'm going to make one person in my family very, very happy. And 99% of my family members really hate my guts right now. And I'm going to make it my lock of the week. I am channeling my buddy Oos up there, Crispy Bacon, and his weirdest locks of the weeks. I'm taking the Lions as my lock of the week.
Whoa! Wow! Lock of the week on the Lions.
I'm feeling very, very Oosy. Very, very Oosy.
uh, and honestly, if I wouldn't use my lock on the North last week, I probably would have did the same thing, Tim, because I think the Lions are gonna. I think the Lions are gonna win. I think the Lions, Packers for some reason just aren't clicking right now, and maybe a stubbornness on the quarterback part. I don't know. So, but J Max chiming in, going to be closer game than everybody thinks. Packers 24. Oh yeah, I think it's going to be a close game too. I mean, the Lions have put up points and given up points. The Packers, seem to find a way to put up points. So it could be a close game, but I'm going to go Lions too on this. So all right, we got Tim's team, the 3-4-1 Colts versus the 4-4 Patriots. Patriots favored by 5. Tim.
Patriots need to be favored by more than 5 at this point. I like Ellinger. Ellinger showed a lot last week. Now Belichick's got a week on seeing what he can do, and now you've got no Jonathan. You get no Jonathan Taylor Thomas there from Tool Time. At this point, it's just a retooling at this point. I've got the Patriots as much as I hate to say it, it's like a stab in the face, but I've got the Patriots.
All right, Chris, how about you, bud?
Yeah, I got the Patriots too. It's a home game for them. Colts have been playing up and down, so are the Patriots, but I think the Patriots can win at home.
Yeah, I got the Patriots too. Like Tim said, I mean, yeah, the kid came out and played pretty good, but you don't want to give too much time for Belichick to learn who you are. I mean, he's studying, he's got his people studying. Now, if this was last week, I probably would have taken the Colts, but I'm going Patriots too on this one. So, the next game we got is the 6-1 Buffalo Bills favored by 11 over those Jets at 5-3. So, Tim, who do you have in that game?
Yeah, I've got the Bills. The Bills did at this point until the Bills play somebody in their division. And don't get me wrong, the Jets are another surprise team this year. I think the Bills defense is extremely tough. It's a young Jets offense. I think the Bills are gonna. Oh boy, I don't know if it's going to be closer than the Packer game last week or if it's going to be worse than the Packer game last week. If the Bills, this game could be over by halftime.
Yeah.
If the Bills come out and do what I know
like
they
high
can
school?
do. Yeah, like a 96-0 halftime score. I think I'm not calling it a 96-0 halftime score, but this could easily be 35-0 at halftime. Easily.
Yeah. Chris, how about you?
I got Buffalo winning this game. They've been playing really well this season, and the Jets have been playing well too. I'm making the Bills game my lot.
Okay. Yeah,
Not the
I mean,
Jets.
but yeah, Bills. I mean, right now, like Tim said, I mean, unless they start playing tougher divisions, the Bills should easily walk away with this one. And J Max got a question. Josh Allen, early season MVP. Yeah, I mean, Hurts
Yeah,
might be up there too with them, but I think Allen's putting up more quarterback numbers where Hurts is doing it with the ball running and throwing. So,
and
um,
I know it's on regular season, but I think it'll probably depend on who goes farther in the playoffs.
yeah, but I think the MVP, just like in baseball, I think it's determined during the playoffs. So, but yeah,
And
Josh
how
Allen
many wins
by
each team
far
gets.
early MVP. You know, so I got the Bills just in case I didn't say that. Next game we got the 2-5 Raiders who are favored by 2.5 versus the 2-6 Jaguars who don't seem to want to go away and be a bad team, but they don't want to seem to be a good team. So for me, I'm going to go with the Jags. I think we're going to start seeing. I mean, we have been seeing some things, but hopefully they close out the Raiders. Raiders right now, they went out and got Devontae Adams, but they just haven't been clicking. So, Chris, who do you have in that game?
I got the Raiders. I feel like both these teams need a win. Josh McDaniels, he's kind of coaching for his job, whereas Peterson, he's proven to be a winner. He's taken teams, to the playoffs. Maybe not this year, but I think next year they'll probably be a contender. The Jaguars will.
Oh,
He's not going to get fired this early on unless something drastic happens. But I think McDaniel's is fighting for his job.
after in year one, really? You think he's fighting for his? I don't know.
I think so.
Possibly. I mean, but the Raiders are known to keep their coaches around for a little bit. But Tim, who do you have?
I think Chris has got something there with the Raiders playing that McDaniel's is coaching for his job. The Raiders last year were a playoff team, even though they got in through the Colts, and then basically the Chargers the following week. But you know, McDaniel's did he had his chance in Denver, so he's got a little bit of a track record. I can I kind of agree with Crispy. I think McDaniel's is coaching for his job. Not like if he loses this one, he can't go back to New England. Um, but I've got the Jaguars. Except if Peterson's not coaching for his job unless
No.
he pulls a Meyer
Yeah,
and has girls sitting on his legs and bars and all the
yeah,
other
yeah.
extracurricular activities. So yeah, I got the Jags.
Yeah. So, Chris, you just brought up that comment. So J Mac is saying Jags are 0-5 in this year in one possession games. You're right. I mean, stats don't lie. So they get a couple of those games, they're fighting for the division playoff spot. I mean, kind of like the Vikings last year, they just couldn't get over that hump of close games. More than do you think Carr? Yeah, Carr's got to be playing for his
Yeah.
job too. I think a lot of Raider fans
Oh
you talk
yeah,
to, they wanted Carr out last year or the year before. So, and then you bring Devontae
I
Adams in, and you
they,
don't have that connection. So,
they
but
lose this game this week. They lose this game this week. They're playing at this point. The Raiders should be playing for Chase Young
yeah, yeah, possibly. I
or
mean,
C.J.
now, I
Stroud.
mean,
At this point, that's what I would be doing.
and now we're in that time too where we start thinking about, okay, what the teams are going to do that are for sure. I should say for sure out of the playoffs, but close to the playoff time, who's going to be out? Are they going to start tanking? As a lot of fans say, we need to tank for this guy, tank for that guy. So we'll see what happens. But
So
I think you're right, bro.
I, I,
Go
I'm
ahead, Chris.
looking at his contract, and I think he has an out for 2023, but his contract, he'll be a free agent in 2026.
Yeah, and the thing is right now quarterbacks are going to be, you know one of those things where a lot of teams are going to be looking for quarterbacks. I mean, everybody's set at a young, established quarterback. So, Carr might be out of a job if he's not a
Period.
backup. So, all right. So let's go on to the 5-3 Seahawks, possibly another surprise team, versus the 3-5 Cardinals. Um, I believe Seahawks are favorite. I forgot to write that down, but I believe the Seahawks are favored. So, Tim, who do you have in this game?
I don't know. Every time I pick against the Seahawks find a way to tell me you should be paying attention. So, of course, what am I going to do this week? I'm taking the Cardinals.
Take against you.
All right.
uh,
The old reverse psychiatry, whatever they call it. So,
yeah,
Chris, who do you have?
psychology.
Yeah.
I got Arizona. Arizona's been okay at home. I don't know if Geno Smith can take the crowd noise. It's not bad, the crowd noise there. Uh, and it's decided the Super Bowl, I think, this year. So
Yeah, I'm
Arizona.
I'm I'm gonna go with the surprise. I mean, yeah, the Cardinals are probably a pretty decent team at home, and they can put things together. But Seattle, for some reason, another team like the Falcons, who are playing because everybody thought they were out of it, so they're just going out and having fun, proving people wrong. So, just like proving Tim wrong when he picks them, we're gonna or pick against them, we're gonna take the Seahawks. So, the next game, the way the teams are playing right now, I'll be interested to see who we take here. We got the 3-4 Rams versus the 3-5 Buccaneers. Buccaneers favored by 3. Chris, who do you have in this game?
Fortunately, I got the Buccaneers. Uh,
Okay.
I don't know if that's Tom Brady's been up and down this year, and he's been frustrated the last couple of games. Uh, but I still think they can win at home.
All right, Tim.
You think Tom Brady's frustrating? Have him on your fantasy football team. Makes you almost downright suicidal. And I've got him on too. Um, it's not even fun to watch at this point. Um, I don't wish what's going on with Tom on anybody, but it's funny that it's happening to Tom. Um, it's awesome to see. I don't think he should have come back, but I think I've got the Rams. As much as the Rams have done me in like the Seahawks, I'm going the Rams this week.
All right. Yeah, I'm going. It's tough, but I'm going with the Rams because you know Brady and the Bucks. You see them blow up almost every weekend, especially when they're losing on the sideline with the team. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Not saying that's a good thing, but sometimes the frustration's out. I'm going with the Rams. Cup and Stafford has got to step it up because Tim, like you said with Brady, I got both of those guys on my fantasy team, my one team. Those are my first two picks, and they have not done nothing for me. So, J Max chiming in, Geno Smith comeback player of the year. Oh yeah, yeah. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
think of
Yeah,
anybody. I can't think of anybody that's even close to that.
nope.
What's the other one there? I don't want anybody to get hurt, but I think Brady gets an injury this week. Yeah, we don't want to see people go down with injuries, but I think I stated either the preseason show or week one. I think Brady somewhere is not going to finish the season, and I think we might see a fluke injury come somewhere down the line. Far as final
So
season, he was
yeah,
hurt week 10. Manning, yeah, week 10, yeah. So
so one more week.
yeah, so and like I said, we don't want to see anybody get hurt, but
No,
you know,
I mean
anyways,
it's
oh
like when a player gets hurt, it's like okay, you can be out the rest of the game, but after that, we don't care.
yeah, yeah. All right, so we got our Sunday night game. 5-2 Titans versus the 5-2 Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 12 and a half. Tim, I know one of these teams you don't really care for, but who do you have?
Um, that number should be lower, but that's just that number they've got is strange. You got two teams that are 5-2, and there's a 12-point difference.
Yeah,
Um, is Willis is Willis starting today or tomorrow tonight?
they are keeping it a hush hush unless
Well,
unless
it's
ESPN updated it. But
yeah, it's unofficial that Willis is starting, but it's most from what I'm hearing, it's pretty
It's
much a yes that he's playing. He
yeah,
got most of the team reps this week.
I I remember last week making the comment that Derrick Henry should have a big game because they're not going to they needed to stop Derrick Henry. They didn't do that. They didn't even come close to doing that. Derrick Henry goes 219 and 2 yards, two touchdowns. Okay, somebody wasn't paying attention. You're starting a quarterback his first time not paying attention. Okay, that's great. You've got Andy Reid, who's Andy Reid's a lot like Bill Belichick. You give him a
yep.
week, you give him a week, you give him a year. Um, he's going to know what's going to look like. I think I think the Chiefs are going to do better than whoever the Titans play. The Texans, was it the Texans last week? Yeah, it was the Texans last week.
Yeah.
We're going to do a lot better than the Texans. And you're going to make Willis. Heck, at this point, you can have Tannehill try to make Tannehill or Willis try to beat you, and you put 8 in the box. Derrick Henry.
Yep.
I think I think the Chiefs are gonna. I think the Chiefs are gonna win that game, but I think it's gonna be under the spread.
All right, Chris.
Yeah, I'm picking Kansas City. I mean, between these two teams, and I know it's not a complete team, but Kansas City's out of the two is probably the most complete you can be. Uh, at this point, Derrick Henry for Tennessee's kind of your key player. You're kind of relying on him more, especially if you're playing with a backup.
Yeah.
Uh, that's why I'm thinking Kansas City is probably going to take this.
Yeah, I think it's Kansas City. I don't think. I mean, the score might depend on who's starting, but I think we're going to see Kansas City. Kansas City since Mahomes has been there, has just been playing the schoolyard football. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And if that defense could play up, I mean, that Kansas City team's going to be scary. J Max said the real question is Henry running the ball 35 times or only 25 times, depending on who starts.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I
I mean,
I go up. I go on a limb and say he runs 30 times.
oh, you're going in the middle. All right.
I
Yeah.
think I think he runs. I don't think it matters who. I don't think it matters who starts.
Yeah.
I think it just depends on how offense of Kansas City dictates the game against Tennessee's defense.
Yep.
If Kansas City comes out and opens it up and lets all the horses run right off the rip, you're gonna see a lot less Derrick Henry. But
Hmm. Yeah, no doubt. If Kansas City comes out and starts scoring right away, they got to throw the ball. So you're not going to see Henry out of the backfield that much. So the Monday night game, the 5-3 Ravens, 2-point favorites over the Saints that are 3-5. So Chris, who you got Monday night?
for Monday night, I got the Ravens winning that game. It's going to be a tough game, but Lamar has that running ability, and I don't think the Saints can really block that.
Okay, Tim.
I've got the shocker of the night, I guess. I've got my everybody in my house doesn't like the New Orleans Saints. They all think that they can't win a game if you spot them 40 points. But I've got the Saints.
Yeah, I gotta go Ravens. Lamar. It seems like if he can't get it through the air consistently, he'll run. They try to stop him, then he somehow turns into a quarterback that can pass. But I just think the Ravens right now, I think are just firing on everything right now. The Saints are still trying to figure out an identity since their coach retired last year. Breeze retired the year before. I think they're just still trying to find them.
Mhm.
Jason, Red Rifle wins versus the most overrated player in the NFL. Who knows? I mean, this could be a close game too. Don't get me wrong. I think this definitely could be one of those games where, as we would say it, can we predict a tie? So with that being said, guys, Chris, let's get into our topics
Yeah.
and our ads.
Yeah.
K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
All right, Chris, why don't you
Yeah.
give us your history?
So we mentioned them earlier. We're gonna talk about the Raiders. They started in the 1960 season. They bounced around between Oakland and Los Angeles before, I guess now playing in Vegas. They've won 3 Super Bowls. Their first playoff appearance was in 1967. That's also where they made their first Super Bowl. But in '76, they won their first Super Bowl out of 3. 491, 447, and 1 is their regular season record. 25-20 is their postseason. They also have the only kicker in the Hall of Fame, a guy who sadly passed this week. But they've had a lot of Hall of Fame players. Al Davis is probably one of their most famous owners or relevant owners. Not afraid to do anything to help his team. So
Okay, yeah, no, that's a good one. And yes, our thoughts go out to Ray Guy's family, friends, the team,
mhm.
tragically passing this week. So, all right, Chris, let's go into um, topic 2. All right, Tim, give us your prime 5.
All right. I thought this week would be a little fitting because we're close to the mid season of the season. And I figured we'd look at the draft order
Okay.
of the
Ooh.
all in the number 1 pick sweepstakes. And I'm going to make it 6 because Crispy thought it'd be cool to do the Las Vegas Raiders. So I've added the 6, and they deserve to be here too, I guess. At 2 and 5, the Las Vegas Raiders have the 6th pick in the draft.
Okay.
Number five, which is weird considering people had this team as a potential playoff team and possible AFC championship team. The 2 and 6 Jacksonville Jaguars at number 5. Then we've got the 2 and 6 Pittsburgh Steelers for 4. The 2 and 6 Carolina Panthers at 3. Think about that. Now, Carolina Panthers have the 3rd pick in the draft.
Yep.
Okay, they just can't get out of their own way at this point. And then the 1, 6 and 1. The only thing that's holding the Houston Texans from not having the number 1 pick is the first week tie against the Indianapolis Colts. The 1, 6 and 1 Houston Texans. And then this is the point that we try to prove about the Detroit Lions not knowing how to get out of their own way and playing what they're supposed to be playing. The 1 and 6 Detroit Lions. But I did a little more homework because I know that we've got Cowboy fans and Viking fans and fans, and this for J-Mac, since he's watching today and guessed my number 1 pick. I got Green Bay Packers too. I've got the Green Bay Packers have the 12th pick. I'm sorry, we're going to do this right, so I don't want to get told that I don't check my facts. The number 12 pick is the Chicago Bears. Then you've got the 13th pick for the Green Bay Packers. The one tie that helps the Indianapolis Colts gives us the 15th pick. Then we go to you two that decide to pick teams that actually know how to win. Crispy. Yeah, I know. It's a shock that you two guys have teams that win. I must be in the middle of a nightmare. Um, I've got at the 6-2 Dallas Cowboys have the 27th pick, and right now, as it stands, at 6-1, the Minnesota Vikings have the 30th pick in the draft.
Really? Okay.
That's almost
They have
like
they have
Yeah,
a projected
territory.
Yeah, it
they
all
have
depends
a
on playoff
projected
finals. Yeah.
they've got them projected as being in the conference championship against the Philadelphia Eagles.
Which, yeah, we know how
Could
those conference
happen.
championship games go. I mean, yeah, it could happen. I mean, the AFC is wide open, I think, or NFC. I'm sorry, the NFC is wide open on who can get there. I mean, yeah, Philly's 8-0, but
So I got a question.
yeah, what's up?
Do you see the draft order, at least right now, like an indicator to your like your playoff status? You know,
What was
like do you see the draft order and be like, we can make the playoffs or
Oh,
we're
yeah,
out
there's
of
a
it?
lot of teams that still are in the playoff hunt. I mean,
Oh yeah,
granted, we don't have
I
the
think
mathematician here that says,
I think
what?
honestly, if Detroit loses this week, if Detroit loses and Houston loses this week, and maybe Carolina, actually, it could be of those top five picks. If they lose this week, they lose 7 games.
Yeah.
They could easily be out of the playoffs at this point.
I think right now, if you're sitting with 3 wins, you're borderline. I mean, you got to go on a hell of a run. I mean, so if you're not sitting 500 or better, you're looking at draft position. I think. I mean, I know there's teams in there like Tampa
and with
Green Bay that can make a run and wouldn't shock us.
And I'll make my declaration for next week. I'll do the one tough question for next week, and it kind of basically asks that question about the 3 and 5 teams and the 4 and 4 teams and stuff like that. But if you have a quarterback, you're gonna wait. Okay, we'll wait.
So J-Max chiming in. Cowboys and Vikings will win until the playoffs. Yeah, J-Max, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right, Chris. So let's get into our third topic. Stop messing around topic.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do. So C2C rank 'em. That's Tuesday nights with me and Tim. Pretty much just do what we just did. We just ranked different topics. Last week we did different sports. This week video games. So this week mess around. Stop messing around with mess around, guys. When can we? When are the Phillies going to lose? The Eagles. So looking at the schedule, Chris, let's stop messing around. When is the Eagles going to get that first loss?
Next week.
Next week. So they got. Let's see who they play. They play. Who do they play this week? They don't. They're on. They're on the bye.
Oh, they play Thursday.
Yeah, that's right. They play Thursday. So all right. Well, next week they got the Commanders at home.
I can see it. Oh, ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah. So you got the Commanders, you got the Colts, you got the Packers, the Titans, the Giants, the Bears, the Cowboys, and then the Saints and the Giants. So, Tim, when do you think the Eagles are going to lose?
I'd like to say the Packers, but I don't see it. I'm looking at that schedule too. They haven't played the Giants yet this year.
Nope. They got them in 5 weeks.
Maybe December 11th, the New York Giants.
That's where I kind of got them figured in. I think they're going to have a tough one with the Titans. They may have a tough one with the Packers. I think it'll start with the Packers. They'll have a tough one. The Titans are going to be tough, and then it's going to be okay. How healthy are we going into the Eagles game or the Giants game? That's going to be a tough one. Now, if they get past that stretch, then you're looking at the Cowboys, which
And then you got
they've
the
already beat
Eagles
the
again
Cowboys
last week
once.
of the season, or the Giants.
What's that?
Then you got the Giants week 18.
Yep, that's where if they can get through their schedule and get to the last week, they're going to bench everybody because the division's going to be wrapped up. I mean, I know it's a division game; you don't want your division to get in there, but they're going to rest their players. So um, unless dramatically the Giants are sitting a game behind them somehow or 2 games behind them, I say the Eagles are going to sit them. So I think they're. I will go. I'll go with the first Giants game is going to be their first loss. I think so. All right, Chris. Let's get into our fourth topic in
Yeah.
Bodie's book, I believe it is.
Okay.
All right, race against race. Bodie Sanders. You can see him Wednesday nights with Joanne on the Bo and Joe show. Check out his book. You can find it on Amazon. Big East Conference endorses it. If you can't find it on Amazon, then give us a jingle and we'll get you in contact with Bo Dean, and he'll be more than happy to get you a book. So, Big B's baller again, just like last year. I pick somebody that I think is going to do good, and they do the opposite. So last week I can't even remember who I picked, but I know they did bad. This week, you know what? I'm going to go with Mariota. I think Mariota's going to have a game against the Chargers. So uh, we know that's not going to happen, but I'll be shocked if it does. Just like if I win the Powerball. So, but I'll go Mariota as my big baller this week. So, with that being said, guys, just looking at the last minute ins and outs or last minute topic or injuries. Anybody see anybody that's sticking out? I know the Titans are mum on their who they're going to play at quarterback. They haven't really updated that yet. Um, other news here, I saw reports on the Packers made phone calls for Claypool and Walter. Um, I don't know if it's one of those things where really you got to report that. I mean, you know, let's see here, who else? Ravens Campbell sat after surgery, so it looks like he's going to be sitting. Uh, Bucks have 3 starters out, so but they're also expected to have some key players back, so that definitely might happen there. Outside of that, I haven't seen any big injury updates. Have you guys seen anything?
No,
No.
I've been looking. I don't. I'm looking right now on NFL.com, but okay, I lost my app.
Nothing standing
Usually
out.
they've usually got stuff by now.
Yeah. So maybe
Did
there's not much
you
update.
did you see the report that there's teams out there now that want to actually have the trade deadline pushed back another 2 weeks to week 12?
No, I haven't seen
No.
that.
But it makes sense.
It
Taylor's
just came
not playing,
across that
James.
I've got a score, and they want to push it back to week 12, and I'm like, that's not a
Oh,
bad idea. It's
I do see that
it's
now.
yeah, it's not a bad idea.
To
Hey,
week
the
10 or week
cornerback
8
for
earlier.
Chicago, Lamar Jackson's out.
Yeah. So
Did you
yeah,
did you
I
guys
think
know that there's a cornerback in Chicago named Lamar Jackson?
no.
No, but
Yeah,
there's a
there's a
defensive player
yeah,
named Josh Allen.
Yeah. No.
yeah. He played for Washington. No, he played.
No, he
He
played for
was
the
originally
Bills.
drafted by Jacksonville.
Okay.
Yeah, there was
Uh,
one that was drafted by Jacksonville.
yeah, the teams are asking the NFL about pushing it back to week 10 or week 12. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't hate the idea. We had a lot of movement this year, and I think a couple of the experts are saying with this new young GMs that everything's about win now,
Yeah.
so they're willing to trade draft picks away and to
Right.
some. One story I just saw come across that um, Washington Commanders long life fan Kevin Durant is hopeful to be part of an organization to buy the team. Um, we've seen
No.
this in a lot of sports where, especially basketball, it seems like there's a lot of basketball players venturing out and getting ownership of other teams. So, guys, you know, what do we think? I mean, I know, we're not much of basketball fans, but we know who Durant is. Um, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kind of mixed feelings on this right now. So, what do you guys think?
Well, that's the same way with Alex Rodriguez venturing out to buy the Timberwolves.
Yep.
I think they've got the savvy. I think they have the savvy of sports, how it's run, how it could be run in the office and on with the players. I think they're going to know more. I think players should own more teams. I think they should be willing to do that because they can be a little more sympathetic to the player. I think they can, instead of where owners are just being sympathetic to the almighty dollar. I think I don't know if I want to buy the Commanders, but okay, cool. But I think you need the sympathy. You need the sympathetic approach. I think more players should do it instead of frivolously spending money when they don't really need to.
Yeah. You got the money. I mean, I guess if it's your passion, I mean, look at Dallas Mavericks owner.
Cuban.
Yeah, he said it's just a hobby of his. I mean, I think a few other owners said that it's just a hobby of theirs. That's so. But yeah, I think it's right now it's probably him just being he's going to be the face of it, just like Rodriguez when he partnership with the Timberwolves. He's the face. They brought him in for the face, but his partner actually has more ownership stake than he does. I think it is. So, all right, guys. So, with that being said, J Mac, Coast to Coast is going to win the Powerball and buy the Commanders. Hey, we could probably buy. You win the Powerball, you could probably buy the Commanders and the Athletics. I think so.
Probably.
With that being said, why don't we go around and give our final thoughts? Chris, how about you?
Yeah, thanks everyone for watching, tuning in. I know this is a baseball, morning show, but last night
Football, you mean?
Astros won. Huh?
Football morning show? I think you said
Yeah,
baseball.
I thought I said football. Never mind. Astros won the World Series, so congratulations.
Yep. All right. Tim, what do you got?
Um, Again, thanks to everybody for tuning in. JMac, everybody else who watches us on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Fire Stick. Watch Big B and I on Tuesday mornings, Tuesday afternoon for me on C2C Rankum. But keep your eyes on this channel because we got a lot of stuff coming. We've got a lot of stuff that's pretty good. I like to thank these guys above me that they taught me the ropes, and hopefully we've got a great show for you guys.
Yeah, no problem. Exactly. Just keep watching out. Between the ropes tonight, we'll cover the pay-per-view last night, Crown Jewel. A lot of nice action there. On deck Tuesday, we'll recap the season. Tuesday Night Mania, Sports Minute. We got a lot of things coming. C2C Rankum on Tuesday, 9 a.m. Please check us out. We will replay that. We replayed last week's episode on Tuesday night, so we don't know what we'll replay, but we'll throw it in there here and there. But with that being said, want to thank everybody for joining and keep checking us out. So next Sunday, week 10, guys. We'll see you. Have a good night.